Hey guys, what's up? I'm Erin and welcome back to the channel. Coordinating Social Security benefits with your spouse is one of the most strategic moves you can do in terms of maximizing lifetime income. Yet, so many people make mistakes here because they don't realize how much flexibility and how much opportunity there really is within the system if you use it right. This is going to be one of the most in-depth Social Security videos I've done because coordinating benefits isn't just about when you file. It's about how both of you together can make the system work smarter for your household. When done right, it can be one of the most powerful strategies for increasing long-term income and protecting your financial future. In this video, I'm going to walk through multiple real-life scenarios and break down real strategies and give you key takeaways. I'm later going to break this up into multiple videos so you can find the scenario that best suits your needs if you need to later check back and reference it. But for this one, we're going to dive all in. We're going to go over what it truly means to coordinate benefits, what you should consider, and how you should weigh the trade-offs. So let's get to it. So what does it mean to coordinate benefits? Coordinating benefits means planning when each spouse will claim Social Security in a way that maximizes total benefits across both lives, factors in survivor benefits, protecting the surviving spouse with the highest possible benefit, accounts for differences in age, life expectancy, and income history, uses spousal and survivor benefits effectively. At the end of the day, it's how both of you as a team can make the system work best in your favor for your entire household. Now, coordinating benefits isn't a one-size-fits-all approach. It really depends on your unique situation as a couple. So we're going to walk through the most common scenarios that help you maximize Social Security now as well as in the long run. Let's consider a couple who has different lifetime earnings. Most commonly, we have one spouse who is the primary earner and the other spouse who earned less or stayed at home for part of their career. So here the main strategy is that the higher earner is going to wait until 70 to claim their Social Security benefits. The lower earner might claim early at 62 for a reduced benefit or wait until their full retirement age when they might be eligible for a spousal top-up, which is up to 50% of the higher earner's benefit amount. This also allows us to maximize the survivor benefits because that is going to be based on what the highest earner was actually claiming at that time. So let's run through an example for maximum clarity. Spouse A is our higher earner. Their full retirement age is 67. Their benefit at this age is $3,200 a month, but they delay claiming until 70, at which point they make just under $4,000 a month. Spouse B is our lower income earner. Their full retirement age benefit is $900 a month. If they claim early at the age of 62, they would be entitled to a reduced benefit of $630 a month. So let's look how this actually plays out when we have a couple who's the same age and we coordinate the benefits with the higher earner and the lower earner. Spouse A, the higher earner, delays their benefit until age 70. That gets them just about $4,000 a month. And it also locks in the highest possible survivor benefit. Meanwhile, spouse B, the lower earner, starts by claiming their own reduced benefit at age 62. That brings in $630 a month right away, which helps with early retirement income while they wait for spouse A to file. Then once spouse A files at age 70, spouse B becomes eligible for the spousal top-up. That increases their benefit. A passes away first, then spouse B steps up to the full monthly survivor benefit. That's the amount spouse A was receiving after delaying, and it continues for the rest of spouse B's life. This is a really great example of how thoughtful timing and coordination can create an early income stream, maximize income long-term, and really put a protection in place for the surviving spouse. Now, ideally, the higher income earner delays when they claim. This locks in a higher monthly payout and locks in a higher monthly survivor benefit. And this is a really key takeaway to remember, that if the higher earner delays claiming Social Security benefits, they lock in that higher benefit. And then if they do pass away, it locks in the higher benefit that they were actually receiving. That's what becomes the surviving benefit. Let's look at a situation where we have a couple that's the same age, but also has similar earnings. This is increasingly common with dual income households where both individuals have solid incomes of their own. So in this situation, we're talking about maximizing individual benefits, and we don't really want to consider spousal benefits because their own individual benefits are substantially higher than what spousal benefits would otherwise be. So here it's really about optimizing timing. And the key strategy here is that one spouse is going to claim early and the other spouse is going to delay claiming. This creates a higher income floor for the couple and locks in a higher survivor's benefit. So for this scenario, both spouse A and B are the same age. They're 65. They both have a full retirement age of 67, and they both have the same benefit at full retirement age of $2,500. Here, spouse A decides to file early at age 65. That gives them an immediate income stream of $2,167 per month. It's slightly reduced from their full retirement benefit, but it helps cover current expenses without having to pull from investments. Spouse B, on the other hand, delays their benefit all the way to the age of 70. That increases their monthly check to $3,100 a month, which creates a much stronger income floor for the later years of retirement. Now, here's where coordination really matters. If spouse A passes away first, spouse B keeps their own higher benefit. No change there. But if spouse B passes away first, spouse A steps up from $2,167 a month to $3,100 a month through the survivor benefit. This approach really allows the couple to maximize early cash flow and long-term security. By staggering when each one claims, it allows them to have an income stream early on and still maximize the survivor benefit. That is really one of the key things to focus on, that the survivor gets to keep the higher of the two benefits, and that's why it can be so smart to have one person delay. And when you coordinate your timing carefully, it can take a lot of pressure off your own personal investments, and it can leave a lot of room for creative tax strategies like making sure you stay under IRMA limits or making room for Roth conversions. There might also be a situation where both spouses should consider delaying. While staggering the dates at which you claim is often the go-to strategy when spouses are a similar age and have similar earnings, there can absolutely be situations where it makes more sense for both spouses to wait until their full retirement age or even delay beyond that. If both partners are in good health and they have other income streams that they can rely on and they want to reduce the risk of outliving their money in retirement, they can both decide to delay when they claim, and this can help build a stronger income floor. It can create more flexibility and options for those later retirement years. By waiting, each spouse ends up locking in a higher benefit, and remember, every year Social Security gets adjusted for inflation. And consider survivor benefits. This is always a key consideration in retirement. Whoever has the highest benefit, that is the benefit that's preserved no matter which spouse is passing away. And again, this can be a really smart tax strategy. By keeping your income low in those early years of retirement, you're not yet claiming Social Security, you're only drawing from your investments maybe, or maybe you're living on just a pension. This can keep you under the IRMA thresholds and again, leave you options for Roth conversions if you haven't yet done so. And in many of these cases, I've seen couples who delay and then they both start collecting two substantial Social Security checks, and then they don't even need to draw much, if anything, from their investments. This really opens up the door to preserving more of your wealth for later on in retirement or simply passing on more wealth to your heirs. So yes, staggering when you claim is a great way to balance income now and security later on in retirement. But don't overlook the strategy of both delaying, maybe to full retirement age, maybe beyond, if your situation allows for it. It can put you in a stronger position financially and allow you to leave a greater legacy. What if we have a couple who has a significant age gap? Let's say one spouse is 10 years older than the other. Age gaps make timing critical, but we also have to consider who is the higher earner. So here's our main strategy. If the older spouse was the lower income earner, we generally want to have them claim early. However, if the older spouse is the higher income earner, we generally want them to delay claiming all the way to 70 if they can to grow that survivor benefit. Let's break it down. So in our first scenario, we have the older spouse as the lower earner. The older spouse is 64. Their benefit at full retirement age is $1,000. We'll have them file for Social Security at 64 or 62 for an early income. The younger spouse is the higher earner. Their current age is 54. Their benefit at full retirement age is $3,200 a month. We're going to have them delay till 70 to claim. In this case, we have the older spouse who's currently 64 decide to file early, which gives them an immediate income to help cover living expenses now. Meanwhile, the younger spouse, who's only 54 and the higher earner, delays their benefit all the way up to the age of 70, which grows the future monthly benefit to around $4,200 a month. Now here's the key piece. If the younger, higher earning spouse passes away first, the older spouse steps into the full $4,200 a month as a survivor's benefit. That's the actual amount the younger spouse was receiving because of delaying. And if the younger spouse hadn't yet filed, the survivor benefit would still reflect what they would have received at the time of death, including all the delayed retirement credits they had earned up to that point. So even though the older spouse claims early, the household as a whole still has really strong income protection because allowing that higher benefit to delay and grow locks in a higher survivor benefit for a lifetime. Now let's consider another scenario. The older spouse is the higher earner and retired. Here are the key facts. Our older spouse is 65 with a full retirement age benefit of $3,000 a month. Our younger spouse is 55 and will have a full retirement age benefit of $1,000 a month. They're still working, but their income isn't enough to cover all expenses. Option 1 is to have our older spouse claim now at the age of 65. That would give them a reduced benefit of around $2,600 a month. It helps with cash flow immediately, but it also means a lower survivor benefit later on. And over a longer retirement, it could result in a lifetime reduction of $250,000 or more in benefits. Option 2 is to bridge the gap, meaning that the couple would temporarily withdraw from savings, cut back on expenses, or increase the younger spouse's income if possible. That allows the older spouse to delay until age 70, growing their benefit to over $3,400 a month. And here's a key takeaway. If the older spouse delays and then passes away, the younger spouse's survivor benefit will reflect that delayed amount. If the older spouse had already filed, the survivor's benefit would be based on the actual amount they were receiving at the time of death. If they had not yet filed, it would be based on the amount they would be eligible for at the time of death, including all delayed retirement credits. Now, as for the younger spouse, because they're 10 years younger and still working, it's likely that they're not going to be collecting benefits for a while. And in this situation, it can be a really good idea to wait until full retirement age or even delay until 70 to maximize their benefit. But again, this really does depend on their long-term goals, their health, and their overall income stability. But in some cases, especially if extra income is needed down the road, they could claim a reduced benefit at 62 and then possibly switch to spousal benefits later on once the older spouse has filed. This can provide flexibility while still leaving room for survivor's protection. So yes, delaying does require a short-term plan, but it locks in a higher survivor's benefit. It locks in more inflation protection over the long run, and truth be told, it locks in a higher lifetime income. Now let's be very clear. Claiming early isn't wrong if you truly need the income. That can absolutely be the right decision for your situation, but it's really important to understand the trade-offs that come with that decision. If you have other resources like savings or retirement accounts, you might want to consider what's called the Social Security Bridge strategy. It simply means drawing from your investments for a few years so you can delay claiming Social Security and then lock in that higher benefit. And remember, the entirety of the goal isn't about maximizing your own personal income, it's considering the household as a whole. Remember, you are a team, and when you delay, you lock in a higher survivor's benefit, and this can really be a lifesaver for the surviving spouse when perhaps they need income the most later on in life. Now here's another consideration. What if both spouses want to retire at the same time, even if they're 10 years apart in age? This happens a lot. Let's say the older spouse is 65, the younger spouse is 55. They've both worked hard. They want to retire at the same time, and emotionally, they just want to start this next chapter of their life together. That's totally valid. Here's the key. Retiring at the same time doesn't have to mean claiming Social Security at the same time. You can still retire together and stagger when you claim so you can maximize the benefits to protect the entire household. For example, the older spouse may delay claiming Social Security till 70, using savings or a bridge strategy to cover those first few years. That maximizes their monthly benefit and sets up the highest possible survivor benefit. The younger spouse, even though retired, won't be eligible to claim Social Security until 62, and depending on health and income needs, might need to delay or claim early at that point. If both spouses claim as early as they possibly can, this can really mean leaving money on the table, and it can absolutely reduce the household income dramatically when one spouse passes away. So yes, you can absolutely retire together. Just make sure that you're coordinating your Social Security separate from your retirement date. That way you can make the math work while still honoring the lifestyle you want. There are a few key Social Security benefits that really matter when you're planning as a couple, and coordinating the timing around them makes a big difference. First, spousal benefits. If one spouse earned significantly more, the other spouse would be eligible for up to 50% of that spouse's benefit at full retirement age. But there are two rules to consider. You have to be at least 62 to qualify, and your spouse must have already filed for their own benefit. Just being eligible isn't enough. They have to have officially claimed. Then there's the survivor benefit. This one is huge because when one spouse passes away, the surviving spouse gets the higher of the two benefits. So if the higher earner delayed and grew their benefit over time and then they pass away, the surviving spouse inherits that higher benefit for the rest of their life. And this can be a really powerful move if your health and your finances allow for it. And finally, tax planning. Coordinating when you file can help you stay in a relatively lower tax bracket early on in retirement. It can help you avoid IRMA surcharges. It can leave space within your income for Roth conversions or tax gains harvesting if your income allows for it. So even beyond the monthly check, your claiming strategy plays a broader role in your overall financial plan. Here are the main steps you want to consider to coordinate effectively. Run joint projections using calculators or planning software. Compare break-even ages and life expectancy assumptions. Next, consider cash flow needs today versus guaranteed income later in retirement. 4, think through survivor protection. And 5, finally, talk with a financial advisor if needed. This is one of the biggest levers in your plan. Think of it like a team sport. You are not optimizing two separate races, you are optimizing together. You want to build a strategy that has flexibility, stability, and the greatest peace of mind for the both of you. So what is your plan when you go to claim Social Security? How are you coordinating with your spouse? Leave your thoughts and comments down below. I post new videos every single week. If you got anything at all out of this one, please give it a like. If you're new here, please consider subscribing, or if you know of someone who might get something out of this type of content, please consider sharing. I'll see you soon. Bye. Each spouse will claim Social Security. This is such a long one. I'm a little overwhelmed right now. I'm on page 2 of 20. 2 of 20. Oh my goodness. 12 of 4. I think there's church bells going on. I've lived here for 6 weeks. I've never heard church bells. Kind of pretty. Distracting, but pretty. Lower earner, we want to have them claim early. Don't say it like that. It's not hard and fast rules. So even beyond the monthly check, your claiming strategy, I'm so sorry.